Happy Monday. This is Nancy with Yoga Journey 108, and today we are going to lock on to the symbolism of Monday, which is Moon Day. And so some of the associations with the moon we're going to kind of connect to in our practice. Some of the associations are the Ajna Chakra, the brow chakra. And to really embrace the symbolism, I have my little roll-on here. I'll link the blend if you're interested. Our brain really responds to symbols, and the more you can kind of create an environment with the symbolism that links to a certain property, inward property, the more clarity we can get on it. So let's begin. We're going to start in a wide kneed child's pose. So our knees are nice and wide, about the distance of as wide as the mat, and we're going to get our forehead to the ground. That's very important. We want our forehead to be touching, resting on something. If it doesn't get to the ground, a pillow, a rolled up blanket, a block. So let's lower our chest on down, lower our head on down. Get our sit bones nice and heavy. And then if you find your sit bones are floating and that's uncomfortable, you can go ahead and grab your rolled up blanket or bolster and stick it right between the heels and the bum. So that way your sit bones have somewhere to rest and it's not so intense on the knees. And once you get in, start to come into the breath. And once you have your body settled, start to lengthen out the breath. And really follow how the breath moves the body. Our first step toward any kind of connection is through this physical vehicle. So let's completely inhabit this body. Letting our breath bring us right here and now. And we're not looking for long breath, just an easy count of 4 for an inhale, a pause, and an easy count of 4 on the exhale, in and out through the nose, and then a pause at the end of the exhale. So that gives us a nice 10 count cycle. As with every pose in yin, we scan through the body and look for any place where we're holding tension, and we give it permission to let go. We let the breath come front and center, because that keeps us where we are right now. Drink in an inhale, fill up the belly, sigh it out, and we're going to walk the hands. Keep the head nice and heavy as we walk back, 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 back. Once the spine is stacked, the shoulders roll back, and the head's last piece to come up. And we're going to come forward into our toe stretch. This one we don't hold quite as long as most other stretches because it can get pretty intense on the arches of the feet. We'll only be doing a minute here. Okay, a minute and a half. Okay, for this one, we want to make sure that the baby toe is tucked into. If it's not, it's okay, but just encourage it to start. Now this may be way too intense, sitting straight up from your heels, sit bones on your heels. If it is, you can bring your hands down to the floor, or you can even be in full kneeling, just gentle, lean back into those arches. Okay, once you settle, you're going to bring your palms together and we're going to settle our thumbs on our brow, on Ajna Chakra. So what is the Ajna Chakra? And how is it linked to the moon? Well, as the moon seems to illuminate the night, so too is the energies of the moon, the correspondence of the moon, brings us into ourselves, shining a light in all those little dark corners that we try our hardest to avoid. So the Ajna Chakra is about clarity, inward clarity. It's about trusting your intuition, trusting yourself. Its color is a deep indigo. Yes, I'm distracting you with symbolism while you sit here in your arches and in your toes. And its key word is I know. So it's talking about that knowing stripped of all the baggage of experience. Yes, experience can inform your decisions, but sometimes it's baggage, and so it's a place to unpack and find clarity. All right, let's exhale. Let's bring our hands down to the ground. Oh, this is going to feel good. Very slowly release the toes and just start to make little wiggles. Just little, try to fan out the toes a little bit, little furtive movements. Then we can start to wake them up a little bit more. Tap a little harder, flex and point, make some ankle circles. Notice how the calves feel. Let's take a little cat-cow while we're here. Dropping the belly on an inhale and lifting the spine on an exhale. And during these little intermissions, find how the body wants to move. Association with the moon is flow. So this is going to help us flow into our week because we are going to stand strong in our purpose. So we're going to step it forward with the left foot. And we're going to come into overstepping dragon. So what we want to do is come forward, forward, forward with the knee. This is one of the only times you do this in yoga. And until you come to your edge where the heel wants to lift, but we're not going to let the heel lift. Okay? So find that stretch, lean the hips forward and down. If you want to put a block or a cushion under that back knee, feel free. And if you feel comfortable, we're going to climb on up. And we're going to turn our body just slightly toward the left leg. And we'll settle our elbow here. And we're going to place the base of our palm right between the eyebrows. And just rest the other hand over the knee. Once you get there, sink the hips forward and down. This is another one we don't stay particularly long in. While you're sitting here, we talked about purpose, clarity of purpose. What is your purpose? Have you ever thought about that? What is your purpose? It's up to us to make meaning in our lives. Don't let that stress you out, though. So just hang out with the idea of your purpose. Notice what emotions arise when you're asked to look within and find it. And those of you who've been doing yin for a while, you recognize that we use our breath to settle into physical discomfort. We can do the same with our emotional or mental discomfort. So let's keep our 10-second cycle going and explore the idea of a purpose. Inhale. As we exhale, let's release the arms to either side of that left leg. We're just going to shift the hip back gently. Just going to rock forward and back, just releasing the stretch. And then we're going to sit back. We're going to spiral the right heel outward, and we're going to come sit inside the heel, setting up for our half saddle. Now, even my friends who can go into full saddle, stay with me. Let's stay in half saddle. Okay, so ideally our knees are close together. If it's too intense, we can walk the left knee out a bit. Okay, this may be where you stay. Okay. Or we're going to walk ourselves back down toward the ground. Okay, if you're feeling something sticky in the knee, you might stick a blanket or rolled up or a block under the sit bones to come up a little bit higher. Full expression would be to come down lower. As you come down, tuck the tailbone down toward the heel and maybe come all the way down to the ground. Okay, try to level out the hips as much as possible. The right one's going to want to creep up, so let's make it nice and heavy. We want the stretch to come into the thigh, so we're not doing a big back bend here, so soften the lower ribs. Arms can be alongside the body or up overhead. That feels okay. And then we're going to take this left leg, if it's available, and settle the outer blade of the foot on the knee. So we're not just pressing down on the knee, we're kind of sliding that foot toward the bottom of the mat so we can bring some length into the quad. And then settle in. And in this space here, let's whirl around that idea of purpose. Now, purpose arises from your values. Purpose arises from values. So as we settle into your pose, let's shift our focus into values. What are your values? And hang out with that idea. Hang out with that question. Take a nice big inhale. Sigh it on out. Let's release that foot, extend it long. We're going to roll onto our left side. Take a couple breaths here. And we're going to engage the core to support us as we come back up. And we'll do our little sequence on the other side. So we're going to bring the right foot forward. So start in a bit of a dragon pose here. And then we're going to maybe scoot the heel in or move the body forward. And we want to find that stretch in the back of the heel, the back of the calf. Check your edge. You want to make sure the heel is still rooted. And you have the option to stay down here, or if it feels okay, let's come on up to the thigh. Gently turn the body toward that thigh. And we're going to settle the left elbow, right elbow, right leg, right elbow, and rest the forehead in the base of the palm. Just let the other hand droop. Breathe. Release the hips forward and down. And so when we talk about values, it's notable that a value is not a thing. It's not like travel. It's not something you do. It's not something you have. So travel would not be a value, but what you get from travel could be a value, whether it's knowledge, whether it's freedom, whether it's novelty. So if some of your values popped up as things you do, let's mine them for what the actual value is behind that thing that you like to do. One more inhale here. Exhale, release the hands to either side of that foot. Very gently shift the hips back. This little pulse here. Feel the rush of warmth slide into the back of that leg. And the next time we come back, we're going to slide the left heel out a bit. Come to sit on the inside hip on the ground. Both sit bones in the ground. Again, this may be where we stay. Okay, right here, chest lifted. You might still bring the knee across. And as we come down, we're going to make sure that we're tucking our tailbone toward the bottom of the mat. And then maybe we get all the way to the ground. Maybe our arms come up overhead. And maybe we take that right foot and slide it along the thigh toward the knee. Right knee wide. Melt the left sit bone into the ground. Find your breath in this shape. Soften yourself into gravity. Explore the sensation with your breath. So maybe one or two values have surfaced from your excavation. And settle on one. And as you focus on it, see where it emerges in your body. Where do you feel that value inside you? Is it a warmth in the heart? Is it something that ripples through the tummy? And as you bring that value into the spotlight of the breath, how does your breath respond? Don't let it skip away. Stay here with it. And the monkey mind, our inner critic, is going to do all it can to distract you from focusing on your value. So let that monkey voice, let that inner critic kind of dance in the darkness, and the spotlight is all on this value that you have, that you're holding in your heart and your mind. Nice big inhale. And side out. Let's release the legs straight. Let's roll onto our right side. Stack the feet. Take a breath here. Maybe just make some circles with the left leg, bend and straighten. And we'll come on up to sitting. Okay, let's bring the legs around. Give them a little shake. Sway the feet. Our next pose we're coming into is the half dragonfly. So we're going to square ourselves up over our right leg. And again, we want to create a stack so that we can rest our forehead. So if that means we're here resting our forehead in our palms, that's fine. If we're here and we're resting on a block. If you're all the way down here and you're resting on your knee, great. And also, we can also take our rolled up blanket and our pillow and be resting right up here. So wherever you are, we want to lean forward on our sit bones. So kind of scoot the flesh away. If you do have the tools, you can go ahead and use a bolster. Even if you're here, this is a great place to be. Once you find your shape, find your breath in that shape. Soften yourself around it. And we're coming back to our purpose. What is our purpose? Maybe you never thought about what your purpose is. Well, let's think about it now. So just like the moon, our inner sense of purpose is going to wax and wane. It's going to look different from day to day, but essentially it stays pretty much the same. Last breath in the pose. Take a nice big inhale. Side out. We'll walk the hands back to the hips. Keep the head heavy till everything's stacked. Shoulders go into place and the head comes up last. And we'll come around to the other side. Just take a moment through the center. And curl the other foot in. So we want to have more or less maybe like a 90 degrees between the back of the thigh and the extended leg. So we're not wide out on this one. We're more or less squared up. Let's square our bodies over the extended leg. Soften the foot. We're not yanging. Yang is this. Yin is soft. Let's lift our heart and let's melt over the leg. And now no expectations. Maybe this leg is not quite as open as the other one, and that's fine. So let's get our pillow, let's get our block, let's get our blanket, and give our forehead a place to comfortably rest. We don't have to fight for symmetry. Try to resist pulling and focus more on settling. Okay, maybe last time when we were trying to find our purpose, you're like, purpose? What do I need a purpose for? I just going to work, surviving. Now and again, get a chance to play. What more do I need? Well, a lot of our anxiety comes from not really having a why in place. And we can do the exact same thing. We can do the exact same thing from day to day, but if we have a why behind it, it tends to give us less stress than if we don't have our why in place, our purpose. So going to work every day, those 8 hours of work, might feel like a real drudge, a real slog. But if we have a clear sense of our why, those same 8 hours, or 10 hours, or 12 hours, or 4 hours, don't seem quite the same burden. Or if it does, we try to find a way to align ourselves more closely to our purpose, more closely to our why, have our whats align with our whys. So for the last couple minutes in this pose, let's see if you can sink into your why. Inhale. Side out. Walk our hands back to our hips. Sit up nice and tall. We'll twist away from the fold to the counter. We'll twist back the other way. And we're going to roll onto our bellies. let's grab our blocks. We are going to lie down with our shoulders on the block. So you have the option to come down to the lowest setting, the medium setting, or even the highest setting. If you do take a higher setting, we want to make sure, again, our forehead is making contact with the ground. And if it doesn't make contact with the ground and you want to stick with a higher setting, maybe get a block or a blanket or pillow under your forehead so there's no strain in the neck. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set up. I'll try high. No, I'll try medium. So we're going to come on down. We're going to snuggle these guys right onto the shoulder head and lower our chest between them. We're going to lower our forehead. That feel okay? Okay, make adjustments if you need to. And then we're going to let the arms either can stay here in cactus, or we can bring them back toward the hips. Let's shake out the feet, sway the heels, release, 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 release through the sacrum, release through the hips. Close the eyes, soften through the whole entire body. Let that gentle pressure on your forehead remind you of the journey that we're on right now. Clarity of purpose. And so inside, we tend to have an inner critic and an inner sage. You'll be able to tell the difference because the inner critic tends to make you feel tight inside. It's a tightening, it's a shrinking back. Whereas the inner sage kind of encourages a sense of openness, of lightness, of ease, of flow. That's not to say that the inner critic, the monkey mind, is evil or bad. A lot of the things that the monkey mind is engaged in keeps us alive, keeps us safe. But what Ajna Chakra is seeking to do is to kind of tap into that inner sage. And so as you settle into your value, as you settle and from your value arise into your purpose, notice how the internal critic might crop up. And as you breathe smoothly and mindfully, just watch the arguments that it tries to make, as it tries to maybe invalidate a value, as it attempts to criticize how, oh, you don't live up to that value. That's not your purpose. Just let that nattering fade into the background. As you shine the full moon onto your sense of purpose for today. Big belly breath. Feel yourself fill up against the mat. And let it go. Let's bring our hands outside our shoulders. Let's lift up. Pull the blocks out of the way. We're going to come right back down. Let's pillow our forehead on our
on the backs of the hands. For now, sway the hips. If you want to pick up the feet, sway the feet. And let's settle. Soften through the feet. And for our final pose before Savasana, we're going to come on up to Sphynx. So let's bring the elbows underneath the shoulders. If that feels comfortable and you want to get a little higher, grab your pillow, grab your roll blanket, grab your bolster or your blocks. And we're going to give some more height into the elbows. And for this one, we're going to let our head hover. Feel the space between the brows. Breathe into your sense of purpose. Explore what that feels like. Highlighting your purpose, highlighting your sense of inner drive. What does that feel like? Let's hold it in our mind, hold it in our heart. Fuel it with every inhale. And let it spread its light and warmth through the body with the exhale. And for our last minute in the pose, let's release the head. We're going to swing the chin over to the left shoulder. And on the next exhale, swing, release the head down, lift the head, point the chin at the shoulder. Back down to center. Bring the head back up to neutral. Full belly breaths, full moon breaths. And we're going to start to release the pose by getting any tools out of the way. Lower ourselves back down. We can rest our forehead on the backs of the hands, or if you want to go a little deeper, forehead comes all the way to the ground. We're going to bring the fingers interlaced behind the skull and add some weight. Soften through the feet, the legs, the calves, the thighs, the bum. Release through the mid-waist, the chest, the throat, shoulders, arms. All those little muscles of the face. Let's release the hands under the shoulders. We're going to push ourselves on up and we're going to come into our Savasana. So crawl the knees forward. Let's come down onto our bums. We'll roll all the way onto our backs and gather the knees into the chest. Take a moment here. Just feel what your body wants to do here at the penultimate stage. Maybe it wants to have some knee circles. Maybe it wants to extend and straighten, extend and bend. Maybe a little release, rocking side to side across the sacrum. And we'll get ready for Shavasana. Here's a great time to unroll that blanket and cover the body. We can get our pillow or bolster under the knees. A nice thing to do too might be to release the hair. Take off the watch. Let yourself be free. Free yourself into Shavasana. And once you get here, let's just lift the pelvis and tuck the tailbone in so we have a nice neutral hip. And then we're gonna snuggle the shoulder blades under the chest. And before we come all the way in, let's bring the palms together. Get some heat between the palms. And we're gonna settle that warmth on the eye sockets. And just give a little massage to the physical eyes. And also a little darkness. And then just be still. We'll set ourselves an affirmation before we settle into Shavasana. An Ajna affirmation. I am clear on my purpose. That's it. Just going to breathe that in and out. Just here we'll introduce a mantra. The mantra is Sat Nam. And so as we go into Shavasana, just as you inhale, just kind of have this internal vibration of Sat. And as you exhale, gentle vibration, inner vibration of Nam. What it means is I am truth. I am truth. And by extension, it's I live according to my truth. I live according to my purpose. I'm clear on my purpose. I trust my inner wisdom. And so get the rhythm of Sat Nam. In your body. And then we can release the hands to the side. And take our Shavasana. you to press pause if you'd like to stay in Savasana a little bit longer. Those who are ready to come out of Shavasana, start to deepen the breath through the belly. Full moon breath. As we exhale, empty the lungs, drop the navel in toward the spine. We're in new moon, the dark of the moon. Next time you take an exhale, send some of that full moon light out to the fingers and toes. Start to bring some movement through the ankles and the feet. Sway the head from side to side. If you'd like, reach up overhead. Pull the fingers in the opposite direction. Lift the hips, maybe to press the toes in the opposite direction. Hold the breath. And let it all go. Let's walk the feet in toward the sit bones. We're going to curl onto either side, really. I'm going to be on my left side. I'm cradling my heart right now. And as you're ready, let's make our way back up to sitting. We are going to come into a Sukhasana. However that might be for you right now. You can sit up on a bolster or a pillow. And let's one last time invoke the sense of purpose in our hearts. And let's take that why with us out into the week. As long as we have our why, we're more likely to get into the flow of our own existence. Let's finish our practice with the sound of Om and 3 Shantis. Big inhale. Exhale to empty. Inhale. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. On the exhale, just follow by tucking the chin. Acknowledging the light of life that burns within you and within all of us. Namaste. I hope you all have a beautiful week. I hope this Monday starts you off right. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you would like to see more like this, I'm creating a whole series of yin and vinyasa, one for each day of the week, incorporating the symbolisms of the days. And if you would like to follow that along, please hit subscribe. And if you have any questions, please feel free to stick them in the comments, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.